Are you ready to get casual? Grab your favorite adult beverage or combustible plant and join us for our roundtable TTRPG discussion. Oh yeah, it's time for Casual Friday. And now, here are your hosts.
Hey, it's us, your hosts. What's
Hey.
up? We're back to talk some crit. After great debate, we are in fact talking about episode 11, Make Merry, which
Hmm.
didn't sit right. The title. I enjoyed the episode, but what do you think they're referring to? Make Merry there.
I don't know. Maybe the end of the soldier's arc? I don't really know. If it was a reference to a
Yeah,
specific thing in the episode, I did not catch it.
I kind of wait for it sometimes too, because now that I watch a thing waiting to talk about it. I was like, that's a thing I need to mention. I don't know. And if you leave that blank open long enough, it starts to fill with like that Dave Matthews Band song and Mary and Pippin, and it's just like
Hmm.
free association. And I never got it. But we open in the Dvalimar Pass. Going to Helvar, heading east, getting a little more geography. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a little more of the lay of the land. I'm a big map guy, and we don't have the map of this world yet. Or if we do, sorry, gang, Ryan's out of the loop on that one. So
No,
they're
actually,
heading east.
they
Is
mentioned
there a
that
map?
in the cold. They addressed that in the. I think it was the cold open after this episode where Laura, I believe, was complaining about not having a map, and Brennan
Mm.
said there is a map. I drew it in pencil in a notebook at my home. That's the only map that exists.
And this is a real dungeon master sticking point of like how much do I show of the world to the players, because there's something really glorious about like you hand me a map and I'm in. All my favorite books start with a map. um but if I don't show you the map as a dungeon master, then it's just like, oh yeah, there's definitely an orc village right here and not way over there in the direction you were supposed to go but didn't. No, it's here. You maintain that like quantum uh uncertainty principle if you don't hand them the map.
If you
But I need a map.
in I don't remember if they did this in campaign 2, but at the beginning of very early on in campaign 3, maybe only 4 or 5 episodes in, as soon as they left their starter city, Matt brought out a huge, like handmade map, with like the tea rubbing all over it to make it look ancient,
Mhm.
and it came with 4 giant paperweights to hold down the corners, and I think maybe that's what Laura was expecting. Some like pre-made map by an artist, but Brennan's like, no, it's in my notebook, dog. The It's all up here.
Yeah, when you go from a world that had a decade or so of development to a world that some guy made up 6 months ago, there is a difference in resolution. Um, Well, we had three parties exploring it. We get a cold open with the Seekers on this dwarven highway. The dwarves, they don't need highways to go over mountains. They go through mountains. They go under mountains. So they built this highway to help their buddies, the humans, go wreak havoc on the orcs for centuries of warfare before our story opens and before the climactic events that set the stage 100 years ago, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
our our dwarven allies built us a highway through the mountains because they're dope at it, and it helps us fight those stupid orcs, which we now live with. There's a landslide, and the Daconis are among the Revolutionary Guard who are, I don't know, directing traffic or repairing the road. I'm not exactly sure because we don't get down in there. Instead, we go around and take a little detour to this little town called Adsar, where they're hanging up lamps that eventually we find out say "come back," which hit me in the heartstrings. That felt poignant.
Yeah. On the one thing I wrote, I liked that. So for the first part of the cold open, the first few minutes was basically a montage allowing everyone to recap their feelings about everything that's happened. And I wrote down, "Hoo boy, montaging this is the correct way as opposed to doing 2 or 3 full episodes of everyone moping." Because it's just a whole lot of tragedy. And so I was like, yes, Brennan, please fast forward through the moping and the tragedy and the grief to get them at least a few days removed. I was like, this is the correct choice here. I don't want to see I don't want to see Julian and Tysha arguing for 2 full episodes.
No, just kill each other or kiss already. Come on. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I think the first words of this episode were like 3 days later. It was a very good because the dungeon master side of my brain, not the audience member, is very fascinated about how these different timelines are going to work because the the fulcrum points, the choke point really of a good West Marches campaign is that timekeeping aspect where it's just like, oh, they killed the bad guy, but they're actually 4 days behind, and these guys are over here. It's like, oh no, I broke the world. So that's a good way to be like, you guys traveled for 3 days. You're starting now. Here we are. You were caught up.
Yeah, I really think it's all of this cross-pollination is going to only become more interesting once they get to level where they can do things like cast sending spells or quickly teleport. Be like, why don't we just teleport back to Dolmakiar and grab what's his face? Well, what's his face is actually in Atlanta shooting a TV show right now and is not available to come back to LA to shoot Critical Role. So no, you cannot teleport to Dolmakiar to grab this. I'm really curious to see how Brennan's going to pull it off. Maybe Brennan will have an agreement like no sending with people if their player's not in Los Angeles today.
You get into these weird, and it's an above table conversation, but I've definitely
Yeah.
been on that. Like, am I going to play this PC tonight? Even if like someone doesn't show up, right? But especially if like someone's at a different table, it's like, no, he's in a pocket dimension. We're not gonna talk about it. It's fine. You wanna break this bubble to like exploit something and make everything less fun for everybody? This is me saying no to that. Sorry. Let's not do that. Um, Very interesting, like world building stuff. This is the reason I like the Seekers is because, and maybe it's just because they've been living in the world of the cold open, we get world building from them in concentrated doses, where it's like, here is this village of dwarves who live staring at the storm rack, which is the 70-year thunderstorm that's happening at the place where their goddess of the forge died. So it's like a certain kind of person who's going to live there and look at that. And they have these lanterns lit that they've forged clearly from all these different kinds of metals, which is appropriate, keeping the lights on to try to get her to come back, which, I mean, I'm not quite sure how things work here, but I don't think that's going to happen. And it's built on top of a druidic shrine to the elemental goddess or whatever, the elemental primordial spirit of the earth. So that's interesting, especially with
She
the
had a
druid in the party.
T name.
Trajna. I just thought of troika when they said it, and I was like, I'm not going to say this word out loud, but it's Trajna.
Broken.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Sense.
Trajna is the goddess of the forge. Tahana is the earth goddess.
Yeah.
So clearly there were things before the gods. And we kind of get that at the very end of this episode. I'm looking forward to talking about too, with like Taylor's whole deal. But the gods, there are things that are older than the gods. This place existed before the gods, and clearly it exists after the gods. So I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed that we got a couple minutes of it and then went back to the soldiers. My favorites.
Yeah. I wrote this quote down from that cold open. I don't remember where it came from. They're desperate to go back to what they know, even though it was worse.
Yes.
Which I think was
And
referencing people wanting to bring the gods back. I assume that's what that meant.
Yes, and it's interesting. That was a banger line from Abria, just about like the human condition. Like, yeah, I know it
Yeah.
sucks, but it's what I grew up in. Welcome to childhood trauma. Um, and she says it in front of Ashley's character, who is legit like is a cleric, but is some sort of like nun in mourning for her goddess for the last 7 decades. So she's talking about the dwarf, but she's also talking about the elf in the party. Um, there's interesting thematic stuff happening at the Seekers table.
Yeah, I know we're not talking about episode 12 yet, but I did start watching some of the next episode, and I put in my notes that these people feel the least like an adventuring party, and the Seekers feel more like an uneasy alliance of people who have nothing in common except for what's in front of them. Like, these are people who
Mm.
would never like each other, um, and are only begrudgingly together, because Julian doesn't trust any of them. Valus doesn't trust any of them. Taisha doesn't trust Julian and doesn't really trust Valus and is overprotective of Octus. And Octus doesn't know what he feels about anything because he's dead.
Mm.
They're a very weird group. They're the least like party of the three parties, I feel like.
And speaking about being comfortable with things that aren't necessarily good, that's the D&D I know. In a lot of tables, in a lot of starting campaigns, it's just like, yeah, we all made some weirdos, and I don't know how they go together, and we're gonna like side eye each other for the first, I don't know, 7, 8 sessions. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
that's how you want to play it. That's fine. There's better ways. Is this the
They
first time they've gone to a different group? This is a cold open still. We're talking about the first 10 minutes of this episode,
yeah,
and they've been
but
doing it consistently. Sorry.
yeah, then after the cold open, we find out this is actually more like an overture episode because we have basically a second cold open.
An even colder open. We get schemers for like the first half, and really it's like the first third. I don't know if it's my perception shifting, but I think by like the minute count, like we definitely got more soldiers than we did schemers. Um,
Yeah.
I'll go through beat by beat, but like big picture, how did you take it? Because I have opinions. It hit me different.
Well, big picture, I think that the episode 10 was 6 hours. And then so they needed to hack off the last 2 hours and put some additional stuff with it. So they had some cold open stuff that they put in here. Um, Overall, I thought it was what's going on with the schemers is very schemery.
Mm.
And I like that. I thought there were some tonal communication issues between some of the characters. I didn't care for Marisha's take on their Marisha's like attitude during the scene. It felt it was weird and off-putting. She was like trying to crack jokes while Azuna's saying, "I'm probably going to die today." That was weird. I didn't like that. That kind of turned me off from the scene.
Yes, I don't. I think it was. I've been in a fugue state. It's been a hell of a 2026. But somewhere in there, you sent me a meme, and it also might have been at like 3 o'clock. I might have woken up to it. We're in different time zones, but it also you might have done it like woken up in the middle of the night and been like, I know now that Murray is Margot Martindale's character from Justified, and I did a lap around my house. I was like, yes, that's the thing. He gets it. It is. I love it. So was that in reference to this episode, or is that 12?
No, that was
'Cause
that
she
was. I
is.
thought of that when I saw here because it just reminded me like the way she kind of like leans around and stuff. It just reminds me of like how Margot Martindale carries herself in that show, where she's just like this. She's got this folksy nature, but she's really quite intelligent, and she uses her folksy nature to disarm people. Meanwhile, she's
Mhm.
got plans and plans and plans. And also,
I
I think the
love.
accent is very similar.
They're both from Kentucky, canonically, and yeah, just like this holler, which I'm a huge fan of, like Old Gods of Appalachia, of the podcast and the game. Like whatever. I lived in Nashville for years. I know these people, and I like them a lot, and I'm also frightened of them. Uh, but oh, it's so good. But it's the same thing. This party hasn't really. It's not a cohesive unit. They're all doing different things. They're doing different. They're playing. It feels like they're playing different games. And honestly, my take in
Mm.
the beginning of this episode was like, oh, this is a different version of D&D, which I'm a big advocate for the fact that there are a lot of different versions of D&D as like a whatever talking head on the internet. There's not one true way to play. However, I have my preferences of which kinds of D&D I prefer, and this is not it. This is not the kind
Hmm.
of game I like to participate in or run, at least how it felt in this like 90 minutes of them figuring out what they're going to do. Because like pretty quickly Azune is like, I have a list of things, I have been thinking about this is what we should do, who has money, we're going to hire an army, which makes sense in the context of the story. The
Sure.
Revolutionary Guard, the police force is decimated. Is more decimated means 10%. 60% of these guys just got laid off. The Candescent Creeds offshoot that we failed to roll to figure out the name of, I guess,
Mm.
have are hiring these guys. Azune's got some friends there. He's like, we need molds, we need operatives. We like let's build up a force. And I've had to stop that from happening in a game before. It's like, no, 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 no. You have the adventure. You don't pay someone else to do the stuff for
Yeah.
you. It's a different vibe. It's a different
It
kind of thing.
it was there were I may get in trouble for saying this, but there were shades of a former Critical Role player who got fired from the cast.
Oh,
I don't think
interesting.
Luis, Luis I believe is Luis Carrazzo is pure of heart. I
Yes.
don't think he had any ill
Yes.
intention, but the moves were kind of similar because that is what Orion Okaba wanted to do. He asked his father to send him an army. And I think that
Yes.
was around the same time he did the thing with all the mirrors with the vampire. He's like wanted to create a whole bunch of mirrors and stuff.
To be clear, this wasn't main character energy. I think this is
Right.
what his character would do. I think this is him. He's in the pocket. I don't think I'm not mad at him. But it's kind of like there's like a virtuous metagaming where it's just like that's the they're like yeah sure we could do that but like why? I'm like you want me to run 100 CR 1/8 characters instead of like you guys going to have an adventure? I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
It
table might
did
be set for that.
it didn't feel like metagaming when Luis did it at the table. It
Yeah,
seemed like a
yeah,
natural thing.
and Marisha was doing her own thing, and I like it. But he was committed to her bit, which is like, I'm this drunk, sad, I didn't sleep last night. I'm I'm unbottling all my emotions now that I'm with my friends. Um, Hal is as always, the backbone of the whole
Hmm.
operation, or the foundation, maybe the floor.
The voice of reason.
He's the voice of reason. He's not doing anything like too crazy. He's playing it right down the middle. He's the straight man, which is a wild thing for the bard to be doing. But he's like, oh, there's some like rich people who don't belong in a tavern like this. I'm gonna go talk to them, see what the deal is. And then ends up playing the harpsichord, which is like the one instrument he's not proficient in.
You know, you just made me think about how Liam playing Hal the Bard. He's playing an old bard, which you don't normally hear. He's playing like an adult, a middle-aged bard. When you think of bard and associate it with horny bard, you think of someone of a younger age, right? You don't think of the bard who has the bad back and gets up 3 times a night to pee.
It's He's Nathan Lane in The Producers.
Ah.
Maybe he's Broderick, but like he's putting on the show now. He's not the star.
Mm.
He's in the wings, making things happen. Um, but he can turn on the charm and he can lean on his name. And like Taliesin was like telling him to do it, which I don't love, but is okay. It's like there's a fine line between like an assist and like a push, right? A shove. and Taliesin was doing this thing that like bothers me about his play. And like no shade, he's awesome, and Belaire's a really cool character, but he consistently like was like teeing up. He's like, I'm gonna do a thing, but first I'm gonna do this, and then like the thing he was going to say didn't happen or whatever. He kept like, all right, we're gonna transition from that conversation. I'm gonna say this like thing for the NPC's benefit, so I can get Hal off to the side, so I can do this thing that I'm planning. And there's always like just a little too much setup work. Just get to the punchline. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
bringing that in with me based on previous campaigns. I've been hurt before by
I
his
have not
characters.
noticed
Did you see
this
that?
about him. No.
No, it felt like he was like about to do something the entire time. He's like waiting for the perfect moment to deliver his perfect line,
Hmm.
and I don't really know what his agenda was. But
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, I can get money. Like, oh, I embezzle money from the museum all the time, and we're about to do a big project, so like, I could totally steal
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff from them if we want to. Um, so speaking to these fancy pants folk in the Seven Stars Tavern,
Yep.
we learn that they've come from a party at the Royces, at the a Royce party at the Palazzo dei Divinos, um, which was kind of a weird bust because it was like, all right, we're out. We went to Ferry, which I take to mean like the Taconis set it up to seem that way because we know they didn't go to Ferry.
Yeah, yeah. The Taconuses went to. They slaughtered all of the Royces and Devinoses that were in the Royce house, and they cleaned up all the bodies, and then they put up a sign that said, like later nerds, we're going to ferry. That's why we all disappeared and didn't say anything to anybody about it, but left all our stuff here. We just went to ferry. And yeah, that's what they hear at the tavern. They hear that from like somebody that they're just chatting up.
It's a very interesting cover that has implications, right? Because like we know more about it now. I still feel like I don't have like 100% of an understanding, but like the doors to Ferry are closed. So like there is no going to Ferry anymore. But people were like, "Oh, they did it!" Like, cool, I guess. The doors must be open again.
Yeah.
Ferry's back on the table, and I liked the. I mean, we kind of started here, but we're 10 episodes in, 11 episodes in, and we're getting class conflict from Brennan Lee Mulligan of like the
Mm,
working class, like the maid's father is not being let in and is trying to like figure out like, yo, where's my kid works here.
yeah.
She didn't go to Ferry. What's going on? And they're like, get out of here. Riff raff.
He can't help but make it about class conflict and capitalism. There was one thing, I don't remember if it was before they started hearing about the Royces, but I think they revealed that someone named Bettine Taconis is a fan of Hal's plays and comes and hangs out and is a bit of a gossip. So that might be interesting information for later if Hal might need to use his bardly wiles to seduce a Taconis to get inside information. Could be fun.
Yes. Could be fun. They got they got schemes. They got threads to pull. Azune has a bunch of ex-cops who are going to different places that he can tug on. Marisha's like, who was the skull guy again? Who was the guy who wanted to talk to me about the skull deal? Which I wrote that as Devrasi Gaunt is the skull guy. So she's got a skull guy. Clearly he's coming back.
Mm.
Because I'm gonna be sad if he doesn't. Hal knows everybody and is kind of a celebrity, and yeah, has a patron who is maybe gonna be a good mole. It's interesting. They got a lot of threads to pull, and there's this whole thing with the this Blade fellow, this like merchant who's trying to like buy his way into the nobility, right? He's like going on a date with this woman.
Oris?
He Oris Blade has a glyph, a spell glyph of see invisibility that you pop it, it casts the spell. Which, I'm a big fan of little tokens. Like here's the one-time use spell. It's like a scroll, but it doesn't have limitations. Which one shows that like this guy's paranoid, so you can trust him, which is always a fun take. But two, it reminds Azune that he has the glyph of Dimension Door or whatever. I think Dimension Door that he gave to Thiazi. That didn't work. That was fake, and he takes it out. And Murray does detect magic, sees through the illusion, and in the process realizes that Thiazi didn't crack the thing.
Right.
He knew it was bunk before he used it.
Yeah, and it was
And
all
that's something.
it was all keyed off him seeing the Falcon. That's when everything
Yes.
changed. When Thiazi, I feel like that moment is something critical to something way later in the campaign. Like Thiazi was just about to pop he would have died anyway, but he didn't even need to pop it because he saw the Falcon and realized I'm hosed, or saw the Falcon and realized somehow this isn't going to work. And that's when he pivoted and he was like, there's paints and help Murray with the pentaveril and blah blah blah, and then he's gone. So what happened when he saw the Falcon? We don't know. What that Falcon meant to him, we don't know.
But something. And what Louise says is that, oh, he was dead before he could use it, which I think is wrong. I don't know if that's Azune. I don't know if that's character or player driven, but like, no, he figured out that it was bad before he didn't even have to press it. So like, interesting. Again, once I'm in it and I'm not waiting for the other story to progress, maybe I'll be more invested in the schemers. I like the people at the table. I like the characters in general. This felt a little clunky, but like that's the first time they're really playing as the four of them.
I'll say this. Let me give me 30 seconds here to tell a story. So when I discovered the Game of Thrones TV show, I watched a couple episodes and loved it so much I stopped watching it and then read all 5 available books. And I loved the books so much. The first 2 books were incredible, and then I got to the 3rd book, which is the best one in the series. And in the books, each chapter follows a different character's point of view. The first 2 books, Jaime Lannister is an absolute horrible monster, terrible. I loathed him in the first 2 books, and then about 150 pages into the 3rd book, I turned the page, and at the top of the chapter it said Jaime, and I was like, not this asshole. Come on, George. And then, you know what? I'll be damned if in about 30 pages George R.R. Martin hadn't won me over and I understood Jaime Lannister and why he was doing the things he was doing. And so I'm hoping Brendan Lee Mulligan can do that for us with these Seekers, because I've fallen in love with the soldiers, and maybe I just don't want things to change. You know, I just want the thing that I like. I want my vanilla ice cream to be the same every time I eat it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're messing with my ice cream. So yeah, I'm open to it. I recognize my biases, and this ain't it yet. Like we haven't. Is that a tater salad reference?
Yeah, they call me tater salad.
Love it. So yeah, that concludes our first foray into the schemers. It felt transitional. I think like, all right, let's talk about what we're gonna do, which is always a weird session because you have 4 opinions at least if you have 4 players, and it's very rare, if anything, if you come out at the end of that session being like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
I don't feel that at all. Do
yeah.
you? Like, we
Yeah,
know what's happening
no,
next?
you know, Blades in the Dark had the right idea when they're like, you are not allowed to plan. We drop you right outside the building, dungeon, cave, whatever it is. Go. Figure it out while you go. That Blades in the Dark is the right idea there, because I can't tell you how many countless hours I've seen wasted at the table of plans that like a couple people agreed on, one person was iffy on, and then the key thing is that one person who's not paying attention. because then that person takes action and screws up or the person who was iffy is like, I know we agreed on this, but actually I'm going to go ahead and take out my crossbow and shoot the guard. And everybody's like, what? I can't count how many times I've seen that happen, Like the one person just like I'm not sure I'm in on this plan. I'm just going to do my own thing and not tell anyone.
Yeah, can I talk to the guy? Next beat in the initiative order, I shoot him. Next beat is like, yeah, but if I roll like a good persuasion check, right? Like we can keep talking, right? It's like you just shot him in the face. No. Don't even ask. These are the guys who are going to be rolling persuasion checks, which is fine, which is fun, and is a good. Life is about balance, right? And like maybe the schemer's table is the vegetables that we have to eat on the side of the steak, which is the soldiers, which is what we got back to.
Right.
I'm on record as saying I don't recognize Brendan Lee Mulligan's shirts, which is like the way you can tell that he doesn't own many and that what the episodes are. But this time, Whitney wore like a harness. So like I was like, oh, this is the same episode. This is right on the heels of the fight. Like this is the same night. And we were down in Castle Delani, having barely survived. Like we were very close to a TPK here, which would have been interesting. Wix went down. Thimble had 2 HP. Taylor had 1 HP. Desperate measures are in play, which means a bunch of people had death saves X'd out already because they used them to do cool stuff in the fight, which was epic. But like, ooh, they were close. They were close to wiping here.
Mm-hmm.
A couple bad rolls would have seen people petrified. So they get out by the skin of their teeth, and they're sitting there looking at Sid, Lucidimir Pridesire, Tayor's brother, the object of their quest. Beyond revenge, Casimir's dead. They came to get Sid, and they got him, but he's a statue. And now it's like, all right, now what do we do with this statue? You can... I like the, like, not pulling the punch, but like yep, you can wipe basilisk juice on yourself while you're being petrified, and it'll stop it. But once you're done, you got to take this, these bits to an alchemist. Someone's got to cook up a potion here if we're going to make this guy no longer a statue. And we get the reveal that they've like posed these people, which is like so much darker and weirder. That this dungeon was like not only a torture chamber, but also an art studio, I guess. I don't even know what you would call it. But the Dakotas were turning people into statues in poses that would be appealing to display in a manse or fantasy castle.
Because they were planning to sell these statues, right?
They were selling these statues. Taylor clocks that Sid has a very intent expression on his face, like something different than you would assume someone who's, I don't know, being forced to assume a certain position with ropes and pulleys and facing a basilisk. Like he has a like an insightful, thoughtful look to his eyes that he's seen on his father's face, which I thought was nice. It's easy to forget, like, oh, this is your brother, but then it's like, oh no, that means you're like a family. You grew up together. There's like, that means a lot. And eventually we find this piece of paper. We loot the place. Piece of paper. It says like, say this exactly. Warrior, open your senses. Are the dead drawn near? And eventually we get to, he levels up. He chooses this moment to level up, which is like
Tayor.
This is a milestone moment. A lot of folks pulled the cord in the fight, and maybe that's why it wasn't a TPK, because a couple feet and a couple extra HP maybe did turn the tide of battle in the fight. But Travis waited till this moment to do it. I don't know if he got this detect magic because he's level 4 now, or he got an extra spell slot. He uses it, and he sees that his brother, as well as the Hound of Timony and the other statues, which we get less detail on, are all frozen in the process of casting Divine Sense. So these statues are some sort of fantasy ring camera for the undead.
Yep. Exactly.
Interesting, cool, wicked.
Yeah.
Like I love a good evil scheme. They take a moment to like roll the mouthfeel of the evil in their mouths for a minute, just like, oh yeah, this is messed up, man. Good job. Yeah, I don't know. That's cool. I want more. I want more like that. I think Travis is afraid to put on these bracers too. We have these bracers that the Knight of Sarum was wearing, that Thimble clocked in the fight as belonging to one of the Royces, who is presumably dead now. And amazing, like no one's put them on for the whole episode. You think they forgot about them, or do you think they're afraid they're cursed, or like what?
Yeah, I don't think they mentioned. Did they mention them in this part? I don't remember if they mentioned them at all in this.
This
episode.
is where they loot them. They like the sword isn't magical, but it's like a cool sword.
Right.
And the knight's wearing the bracers, and the bracers are maybe like gauntlets of giant strength or something. Because they presumably allowed this single man to lift this 2,000-pound statue and put it on the cart.
Yeah,
It
that would
seems
make
like
sense.
the thing that they would do in this moment, but I don't know if it. I don't know why no one put them on.
Probably forgot about them because they found multiple loot objects like the letters and the letter about this, and there was a. And they found a different letter last in 10. Did Taylor find something else, or was that this letter, the letter that explained how to activate the statues?
I forget which is what. I don't know what he picked up. I think he might have picked up in the fight this instruction manual for how to make magical statues.
Yeah.
The knight also had a letter, had a bunch of missives that like gave us a bunch of proper nouns, which I'm sure were important, and I wrote down, but like we have no context for them other than, what is it? Hounds Harbor? What's it? Houndsport. Houndsport is north of here, and that's where some action is, and there's people there that are working with the Draconuses. The one thing was like a real attaboy, I'm proud of you, employee of the month energy letter from the scary, I think it was Docent, but from one of the Draconuses to this vassal knight of like, I'm so glad you're on this journey with us, and like you're a real asset to the team. that kind of vibe.
Yeah. Is this where Tyranny gets mad? Didn't Tyranny get mad at Wick right after the combat, saying, you left me there, where she turned into a dog?
Yeah.
It's like she got kind of pissy with him.
Yeah. Weird. Maybe because of the break, I didn't really see the through line as much. But she's like, oh, you like dogs? I'll be a dog. And then she became a dog. And it's like, okay, you're a demon and a 3-year-old. This tracks. Or a 6-month-old, really. But like,
I didn't remember what it was in reference to, but she was mad about something that he had done during during initiative that I don't remember now.
Which, yeah, is weird because he spent a lot of the fight dead, and then like, I don't know, he grew wings and leveled up and cast Fireball. Not Fireball, but set the world on fire. So yeah, that felt a little out of left field, and honestly, Sam didn't like pick up that ball and run with it, and he's a very good scene partner. So he's like, "Oh, okay, like yeah, I'm sorry," but like he
Mm.
didn't escalate that. He didn't like run with that. So maybe he also felt, or there was also a lot going on. It's like, okay, Laura Thimble kept being like, "We should leave here. We should not stay in this creepy basement of this castle where a million enemies are feet away from us." So they put the statues on the cart. There's this great, are horses awesome or are wheels awesome moment. Like, what makes a cart good?
Mm.
Team horses, baby. Not to hate on wheels, but a very bad roll, like a natural one, establishes that, oh no, this cart got burnt up in the battle and is going to fall apart pretty quickly. Tyranny has luck, forces a reroll, and it's a 2 because the dice tell a story. The dice are our gods, and we trust them, at least at my table. So that's fun. There's a ticking clock. You got to get out of here. You're disguised as these soldiers. You're carting your petrified brother and a dog and several other people away from here. They're worried about the doors being trapped. That's actually the moment that Travis casts detect magic on the doors, and that's the moment where he discovers the laser beams detecting undead coming out of the statue's eyes. And then the doors open from outside, and there's a bunch of guards out there being like, "You good? We heard some stuff. Everything okay down there? You ready to go?"
Yeah, it seemed like they got out of the castle relatively easily.
I liked the, hey, Lord Docent and presumably Univere, scary skull lady who turned invisible recently. They're waiting for you around the corner here. And he's like, "Here's the open road, and here's back into the thick of it." And like, the thing about being disguised as people is that you have to do what they were going to do, or else you blow the
Right.
cover immediately. But the hound swooped in and saved the day, which I'll allow it. I like those dogs. Dogs kind of roll up. They can cast. They're cool. I gave my life for this land and came back to do it again, but as a dog this time. Magic. To give them dope stealth, and they sneak into town. It did feel kind of like they were let off the hook.
Yeah, I think if my theory is correct that this was all one long episode that was 6 hours, there were probably because of shooting schedule, this was the last time Bren was going to have these people, so he couldn't leave it with them still in the castle. So he probably had to fast forward to be able to, I'm sure this shooting day was going along, and he was like, "Well, let's have the Hound show up and what do they cast Pass Without Trace or something?" I don't remember now.
They don't come out and say it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Pass Without Trace. I think they spelled it out the last time we saw this. And they go to the granary, which is like a tavern. I don't know. It's the old granary is the hospital, and the new granary, but I don't know. I kind of got lost in the sauce there a little bit, but it's Candlemas. Everybody's having fun. The king is pouring wine. He's recently converted, and they're like, not going to deal with that. We're going to the woods to camp out. And Brendan's like, "All right, it's time to land this plane. Like this, we're going to close out this arc. So, say your piece or whatever." And I pause it at that moment, and there's an hour and 20 minutes left of the episode. I was like, okay, it's a long descent.
Yeah, it's a long campfire scene coming up.
A long denouement, which was good, which was nice. Again, we had that classic D&D like, "Hey, we did the thing. What next? What do I care about? What are we supposed to do?" And there was a good stretch of like they were going to split the party maybe, which is really interesting in a scenario like this because you can do that, and that means like, oh, he's going to go play with that other table.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're legit splitting the party in a permanent way. They almost sent Cadigan back because like somewhere along the lines they're convinced Murray's the person, or Baudelaire's the person who's gonna fix Sid. So they have to go back to Dome Lockyer to unring this bell.
Yeah, and I wonder about that. I wonder if Brennan wanted to keep them separate because they're going back to the same place where the seekers are gone, but the schemers are there, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So I was thinking when they decided to go back, I was like, I wonder if Brennan should have tried harder to give them better adventure hooks to keep them up there. Like, why couldn't he have given them uh, an alchemist who lives in Tybersley or whatever, or the next town over or something? I wondered that.
Well, he did. He did. He didn't push it, which is like kind of that like tightrope DM running a sandbox thing. But the hounds, who are everybody's favorite and the best characters in the thing because they're
Right.
dogs. Come
Sure.
on, the dogs are like, we're going to Tybersley. We're going, or not Tybersley. We're going to where the king's seat is, where the druids are, because the stag with seven tines or whatever the hell the druid circle, like they got this. We're taking all of the other statues there, which is much closer, and presumably where more adventures in the land of Timony would happen. But he didn't push the issue. But like I thought for sure they were just. I was surprised when they didn't go with the dogs.
Yeah.
And then they were
Yeah.
going to send Cadigan back, and they were like, that doesn't feel good. And are we going to go just like take on the rest of the Taconuses in Houndsport for reasons we don't quite resolve on? So it feels like they're chasing Wix's storyline and going back to Dome Lockyer next, where everybody wants them dead and the timelines collapse quickly. Again, that like problem that I foresee of like, okay, it's been 2 days for the Seekers and a week and a half for the soldiers. You got to square that circle before Robbie shows up at the table.
Yeah, I wonder if on the road leading back to Dolmakiar, they'll find a reason to not actually go there. Maybe Brennan will put something important in their path that will give them another option or make them reconsider, or I don't know. But we did have a series of campfire scenes where a few important things were revealed.
Wix and Tyranny make up, which is nice. It was quick because it was a weird kerfuffle. And they figure out that like, oh, maybe not all of his family is bad. He has a brother that we haven't seen. It seems like his sister is bad, but he's got a younger brother somewhere. We get this really beautiful Tayor reflecting back about his like childhood and the father and the stars, and we, these like, beast folk, were here before the gods and we're here after the gods. And I think we're getting a reveal of, there's this question of where does Tayor's magic come from, and it turns out there's a bunch of paladins rolling around because the Octus's family's collecting them up and turning them into statues to make ring cameras. So he's not the only one. And I think what I'm seeing is that it's like ancestral magic. It's not, a god is not the only way to pull in divine energy
Right.
from the other realm or whatever. It seems like the spirits of the dead, our ancestors, are, which is, every culture associates with the stars. I don't care if you believe in any of it. You know what your sign is, and when I don't know, Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day is. Like, this is how we do it. This is what's up. It's a thing still. So that was pleasing to me. Of like, kind of, oh, there's other forces at play here beyond just like primordial druid magic and divine god magic. There is this like primal ancestral path that's maybe not canon Forgotten Realms D&D stuff, but is a clear mythological path there. So I don't know, that just pleased the mythology Joseph Campbell nerd in me.
Did you during the Tyranny in Wick makeup scene? Did you catch the thing that everyone was started laughing about? Did you catch that
No, no.
when Tyranny was saying? Tyranny was basically in her apology saying, like I know I've been moody and difficult to be around, but like you were really impressive, Wick. I've seen you grow just so much in the last few days.
Mm.
And then Sam pauses and says, he starts to he says, like, I feel like I've been really vulnerable around you, Tyranny, and I've seen this whole other side of you. And it sounds like he's about to say, like, I'm into you. Let's hook up. And then he goes, it's just made me realize how much I miss Arma, his ex-girlfriend. And you can see everyone at the table is like, oh no, what a jerk.
Well, that was like the last, because they do it. They do it twice. That's like the
Oh,
last
was that the
beat, or the
end?
second
I
to
don't
last
remember.
beat, because that comes on the heels of, like, I thought her and Cadigan were about to hook up because they have
Mm.
this wonderful scene where he gives her back the knife that he's been working on. He took, he returned the handle and kept the blade and fashioned a new handle for it, and like dyed it pink with like rose petals and elderberry, and it was all romantic and stuff. And it was also that beautiful like teenage romance. He's like, you like stuff? Yeah, I bet you like stuff. Yeah, yeah, you seem like the kind of person who likes things. Like, just like they're like that awkward, like, oh, like, how many steps do I have to take before I get to just like kiss you or whatever? Um,
But that
I
that scene went, and I think in a strange direction. Definitely not. I think what Robbie intended was that he was going to be like, "Hey, kid, you've grown. Here's that knife back." And instead, Tyranny was like, "I haven't grown. I want to hurt people. It's
yeah,
in my blood. I'm here to destroy the world, and I don't like people, and I want to hurt them. But thanks for the knife." Robbie's like, "Huh." Not where I expected that to go.
no, because it's also like I think he started there, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm so into you," and also frightened and turned on. And he's like, "Okay, we can do that. Like this, I've made a sexy character. Listen to this voice." And then it's like, "Oh yeah, you're a child. You are. You're a 3-year-old. Um, cool. All right, I'm going into dad mode because there's clearly the doll scene at all the Wids. There's clearly some parental vibes to Cadigan that we don't know yet. Um, so he teaches her a lesson in like a healthy way versus like a scolding way. And then yeah, she's like, I don't, nope, I've learned nothing from this and refuse to change because I'm a demon. And he's like, that's cool. It's only level 4. You'll get there.
I did like when he said, "Kids don't learn the lesson the first time," because that's the truth.
And you saw every parent at the table was like,
Yeah.
um, Tyranny goes to the fire to attune to this thing. Learns that it is what in another campaign would be called a vestige of divergence, and it was so fun to watch everybody freak out and her just be like, "I guess that's important, huh? I wish I knew what to do with that. Didn't watch the show, guys. Help me
Which
out."
exposed that
Um,
she not only she didn't see campaign 1, which that's forgivable. She hasn't watched the TV show.
yeah. Hey, gang, you want to catch up on Critical Role? Just watch the cartoon on Prime. You know, you don't have to give Bezos money to do it. There's other ways. I'm not advocating for them because that would be, legally dubious. But the reason we're talking about this episode, the reason I refuse to skip this, because we are behind now and we'll catch up. It'll come out in the wash. I'm not too worried about it. But as he is wont to do, off the cuff, Brennan Lee Mulligan said one of the most brilliant things that showed me just the mastery of, one, the English language, two, improv, and like three, the human condition, and just, I don't know, the world. I wrote it down. I'm gonna read off this quote. She's like, "I'm gonna go by the fire. I'm gonna attune to this thing." He's like, "Cool. Yeah. The magic of a campfire is that you can sit at it and in one instant be the most connected with the people around that fire with you than you've ever been. And in the next moment, go to the most solitary, soulful place within your own heart and mind that you can possibly reach. And never be far away from the people you love and care about. And I was like, damn, this guy
Yeah.
knows fires. Like, yeah, I feel that. Couldn't say it that way. And like, I don't know. I like to write words and talk a lot. You might know that about me. Jib, you're a writer. You can appreciate a well strung together thought. Like,
That's
woo!
that's true. I've spent many an hour outside staring into a campfire with a group of people also staring into a campfire. That's kind of what happens.
And you're all in it together, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the human family. This is what we've been doing this is what makes us us. Thank you, Prometheus, whatever. And then you're not there anymore. You go like into the flames and through it, and you're a million miles away.
Prometheus. Remember, if that guy hadn't drank that poisoned caviar, none of us would be here. That's what you're talking about, right?
I am now. Hold on. This is now a
Prometheus?
mothership. All right. I'm gonna run a mothership actual play, and it's just gonna be Prometheus.
I
Dibs
still,
on the
I, st-
robot.
I still owe everyone a Meowthership session.
That might be. This is hard to say, but that might be the best Alien movie. And like, Alien's the best Alien movie. Like, it wouldn't exist without Alien. But like,
Wait, whoa. Well, okay, hold on. Are you saying here right now on this podcast, Prometheus is the best Alien movie?
I don't know.
Do I have
It's very
we have a
hard.
breaking image or a hot? Oh, here we go.
Hot take. Hot take. I will confidently say it's the best Alien movie that doesn't have Sigourney Weaver in it, which is kind of cheating. There's been no, not even that. The first two, it's very hard for me to see clearly and not through Ryan in the 80s as a child's eyes. Probably too early, honestly. Probably scarred. Probably shouldn't have been watching it. Mom and dad probably should have intervened. I don't think that's in a movie for like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid to be watching. But yeah, made an impact on me, the original. But like Prometheus, it's fucking good. It's good. It's
I will
really
say
good.
I'm doing Hulu right now, and I watched Alien Earth. Very, very good.
I haven't dabbled yet. We cycle through whatever.
It's
let's
by the
let's
it's
talk
by
about the show we're
dude,
talking about.
by the dude who made Fargo. Very good. Alien Earth. Very good.
Ooh,
Noah Hawley.
we should
It's
start a
very
Fargo
good.
podcast after this.
Fargo's great.
Hannigan levels up by himself, and he's like, it's not healthy. He's beating himself up. He's isolating. He's hucking the addle, and finally, like, he's like, all right, different tree, longer range, hits it. Wolfric comes up and is like, do you want to talk about it, man? Because like,
Hot take.
all right, hot take, Alien 3. Gang, there's a lot of good Alien movies. And also Predator is in the same milieu. So we could talk about like, I don't know, is Predator the best Alien movie?
Also, you might have forgotten one of the Alien movies had Busta Rhymes in it. Did you know that?
I did forget
That's
that.
That's the forgotten Alien movie, the one with Busta Rhymes. That's really the forgotten Alien movie. Anyway,
There are a lot of them. Is that the Antarctica one? No, that's Alien. Is that Alien versus Predator? There's a lot of those. They made a lot of there's I don't know. I had very low expectations going into Prometheus, and it was amazing.
here's
I think it might
a
be part of
fun
my
fact that's kind of sad. Alien versus Predator
Yeah.
birthed cinematic universes because Alien versus Predator made more money than all the Alien and all the Predator movies combined. And so Hollywood said, oh my God, if we mash IP together, we can make a fortune. And that's how cinematic universes were born. So blame AVP for the state of cinema currently.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Interesting. So you can connect a red thread from AVP to like Marvel Cinematic Universe and like
Yeah. Yep. Smashing IP together. That's when
the
IP
fall of Zack
became
Snyder.
That's when they realized IP is the money engine because we took two of them, put them together, and it made a whole bunch of money. Therefore, yeah, that was the beginning of the end. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm thinking that well might be dry. I think original cinema, like cool new ideas. I don't know. Sinners took everything because there was no competition. Also a dope movie. Maybe not as good as Prometheus, but uh,
that's a hot take. Prometheus better than Sinners,
uh,
y'all. Ryan Doyle
better
said it
soundtrack.
right
Sinners
here.
had a better soundtrack. That's a bop, man. And that Irish. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, and then yeah, we get Wix and Tyranny. Maybe they're gonna kiss because the Cadigan thing didn't happen because he brought real dad energy to the interaction and it would have made it weird. Not that Tyranny wasn't into it. But I don't think Robbie was. And then yeah, Wix is like, I bet I could find my girlfriend. It's like,
So mean.
uh.
Oh,
And then
Sam.
Thimble makes her peace with Wix by saying thank you when he's unconscious. And scene. And it was good. It was a good, I mean, as far as like a standalone arc of an actual play show, good stuff. Good stuff. Because really it was what? Six episodes?
6 episodes, and true to the soldier's name, it was about half combat. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe a third, maybe like 40%, but sizable amount of combat, which I'm here for. It's some of my favorite parts.
I'm here for meaningful, tense combat. That is what D&D is built to do. And if you're doing it right, it's peak D&D.
Especially because go ahead.
Ah.
Oh,
There's bad combat. There's meaningless combat. There's no stakes combat, and that's no fun to play or watch. But like, oof, right on the line. There's objectives here beyond just like kill all the guys. We saw a lot of good combats that you can go and reverse engineer, figure out why they work, why they were interesting, and apply those lessons to your games.
you know, there's a range of narration during combat that DMs do. Some DMs, like if you've ever seen any Matt Colville actual plays, his bad guys say a line and then do their thing, and
Hmm.
that's kind of how Matt Mercer runs his too. His bad guys say a line and then do the thing, and he may take a couple sentences to say, as you step up to stab that goblin, you notice something over there. Matt Mercer will do that during combat, but he generally keeps it. Matt runs a really tight ship during combat to keep things rolling. Brennan is a little more relaxed. He's a little more willing to like let some time elapse to get into a description and to let PCs talk to each other. I'm comfortable with the amount he does it. Abria, I think, goes too far. Abria is an example of someone where watching her combats, I always get bored at some point because at some point she's going to have a 10-minute flashback about a character and the flowers they saw when they were a kid, and I'm going to get super bored. But Brennan feels like a happy medium to me there.
Yes, I think if you're taking attention away from the more interesting thing, I think this is the same problem I was feeling with what Belair was doing in the first half, of just like, if I'm waiting for the interesting thing, I'm not paying attention to this thing. Like, you are undervaluing what you're doing in the moment by like, don't do a flashback in the middle of combat unless it's like the big reveal that the big bad evil guy is actually your dad, although that's trodden ground. But yeah, for the most part, exposition should be in the moment, keeping it in the stakes. I think, yeah, that like it's almost a rug pull of like, now we're over here. It's just like, I don't care about this because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do on my turn. That's too far into the storytelling side of things. But I do think I am often, to raise the stakes of combat, I used to do this way more actually, but I would lean into like, nope, you got 6 seconds. What are you doing? And I think that's fun some of the time, but that's not the only way to make combat interesting. And you can do that too much, which I have done in the past. It's like, Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is no longer fun for you. I've triggered your anxiety response. Okay, cool. I'll lay off a little bit, but I'm still coming for you. And now we get the cooldown. We didn't get a cooldown last episode because they hadn't finished the episode. They hadn't finished the sesh. So we get a cooldown for the big fight and for this campfire scene, essentially. No huge revelations. I don't even know if I wrote anything down for the.
I don't think I watched it. I don't remember anything, any new information coming out of it, really.
Yeah, I think after you have a 6-hour session, you're just like, "Whoa, that was cool, huh?" You don't have a lot of insight.
Yeah.
They explained what a vestige of divergence was, which if you don't know, and if you're an hour into a Critical Role fan podcast, I think you probably know. But an item that levels up, a magic item that levels up with you,
Yeah.
is a really, and like, okay, Matt Mercer did not invent it, but it is a very cool concept and a very dope thing to bring to your games. The constantly trying to trade up versus like, no, you invest in this thing and develop a relationship with this thing. Like, this is your pink knife. This is your dope helm, chest piece, sword, and it grows with you in a way that's appropriate with whatever leveling up inside this TTRPG.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of characters, especially marshals, are going to have their favorite sword that was, their slain brother's sword from the war. And so when you find at level 3, when you find a +1 longsword, what are you supposed to do? Just throw your brother's sword in the backpack and never use it again? You need something that grows with you.
It's good. So you're aware of what happens next, and I'm not, which is an interesting. We're almost never in that position.
I haven't
I
seen
have
the
not
whole
watched the
thing
next
yet.
episode.
I've seen about half of it.
But I'm excited and nervous. I have a little trepidation because like this was really good, and now things are going to change, and they're changing my ice cream, and like I don't know, like I'm ready.
Yeah.
I want to like it, but I'm ready to. I don't know, be disappointed. Do you think we're going to see more splitsy episodes, or is this the recipe for campaign 4, where it's like here's 5 or 6 episodes of one table with these cold opens, or do you think episode 11 is we're going to see more like that, where it's like not quite 50-50, but we're with one table for the first half, we go into the break, we're at one table for the second half?
My prediction is they're going to keep doing it like this for another while because everyone's got some kind of contract that says we shoot from February to April. And so they've got I'm sure they have months and months worth of contracts, but I think what's going to happen, my prediction, Nostradamus says that over the next 6 or 8 months or so, I think fans are going to be a little confused with all the different storylines. People are going to start saying it's too much to track what's going on, and I think they will condense to 2 tables by the end of this year, maybe by middle of next year. The soldiers will probably split. Soldiers table will dissolve, and because 4 people at each table, they could stand to add 2 more, right? That's not a big deal. Brendan can handle 6 or 7.
That is insightful, and I think that is true. I think that is likely to happen because like I have the kind of nerd brain that's like built for this stuff. I'm taking notes. I'm hosting a show about it, and I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at this, so like absolutely, someone who's like watching a little more casually is going to be like, who is this? Especially in those gaps of like, if it's 12 episodes before I see, I don't know what's going on in the Royce's familial abode with Barry and everything. Like, I'm gonna forget a bunch of names. Like,
And you have and then you have the Marvel Cinematic Universe problem, which is you want to cross over because you want to reward people who watch everything. But if you cross over too much, then you make it too challenging for the casuals. Like, I would love it if there were some references to soldier plot lines during the Seekers table. But that would be cool. I like it when they drop a thing about that other character, that a reference. But I also want to be able to, like, if I decide that I hate the schemers and I can't stand them, I would like to be able to watch the soldiers and the Seekers and still feel like I'm getting a complete story.
Mm.
Like, if I just can't say I can't stand a certain player and I just won't watch them at the table, is Critical Role just off, just like no good for me anymore because I have to watch 100% of it to understand any of it?
It
That's
is an
where I see
interesting
the
problem.
problem.
And it is a thing with like Critical Role, right? Like I've recommended it, like, hey, you would love this. Like I have a buddy who's trying to get me to watch One Piece for the last couple of years. It's just like, bro, it's 8,000 episodes. Like, can't do it. Sorry. Like, never gonna happen. It's like, no. Just like you got to get through the first 200, then it gets good. It's like,
Then it gets good. Yeah.
yeah, no, can't do it. Right. So like, I know people who would really enjoy. That's why Divergence is so good, and Calamity is so good. It's just like 4 episodes. It's 4 movies. You're done. It's great. Same like, I don't know. I'm behind in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like, yeah, there's one I want to watch, but I got to watch 7 movies. So I have to watch this one movie. Like that's. I just feel like I'll watch 7 movies in the amount of time that I would have watched those 7 movies, but I'm not planning on it. I'm not making it a project. Like it feels weird to commit to. So if they are creating a season where it is possible to come in and out and enjoy distinct bites out of it, it's kind of standalone seasons, the way like Fargo you mentioned earlier. Like you can do that with Fargo. It connects, but not in a way that you need to know about what's going on. These Star Wars shows are arguably to a lesser degree, but like you can watch The Mandalorian having not seen 9 movies. You get more out of it. But if that's what they're doing here, and I don't know that they are, based on the beginning here, but that would actually be that might be beneficial to the casual viewer who doesn't want to watch every episode, and to whatever the brand, the company, right? You might actually get more people on board watching your stuff, which is the name of one of the games that they're playing.
I think they also made a big mistake not launching the abridged side series for Campaign 4. They're still catching up on Campaign 3. They're at like episode 100 of Campaign 3. They should have pushed that to the side and launched Campaign 4 with the 90-minute abridged versions.
1,000%. You know what? It's interesting. There is like a soldier recap thing on Beacon. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but there is like I'm a Beacon Premium member.
There's a show called Tailgate that I kind of watched while I had it on the background. Whitney was the host, and it was kind of confusing. They had they're not doing Four-Sided Dive anymore. I think this is their new version called the Tailgate.
Yeah, someone else we can't talk about. But yeah, previously on Campaign for episode 5 to 11 recap.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, I didn't watch the thing. It's only 9 minutes long, so it's probably like a little bumper on Beacon. It might not even be on the YouTube channel. But yeah, they should make it approachable. Hey gang, if you're out there and you don't have the hours to like catch up, but you want to catch up, there is a very I can't speak to it I haven't looked at it in a minute, but the Critical Role wiki, in my past experience, is a lovingly made fan project that is extensive, exhaustive. So if you feel like reading a synopsis of a 4-hour episode like that is a thing you can do. That is available to you in this day and age.
Oh, hey man, I got to wrap this up.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're running along.
Yeah, I got a thing.
Thank you, everybody. Is it Thursday? Yes, but also we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.